Okay, thank you, Dean, very much. And we're real proud to be horseback today. I know maybe not all of you work horseback. We could do the same thing afoot, but so much of America and Canada and Mexico, the animal that are handled horseback. And so, and besides that, we're kind of afraid of these cattle anyway, so we decided we're going to do some afoot, but we're afraid to be afoot, so we're going to go horseback today. But if you don't work horseback, it don't matter. Just pretend we're on a four-wheeler or side-by-side or on foot, and it'll be the same principle. So what we're going to try to do today is these cattle have already been through the chute situation. So what we're going to do before we even try to place an animal or put them somewhere, we got to get them in their mindset is right. And that's a real key that I think is so important with stockmanship and stewardship and beef quality assurance is to have your cattle ready to work before you work. So important. Now, it's not always easy to do that, but that should be your main goal. We live in a world of real, and sometimes we can't always do it just like the book says, but if you can get cattle as ready as possible to work, that will help you so much with your success of what you're trying to do and your profit. I think that will change your mindset more than anything else. We always get horses ready to work. We train horses, we get them prepared. You'll see before competition, they'll be loping their horses and getting warmed up or cooled down or whatever it is. So why wouldn't we do the same thing with our cattle? So we're not going to go just start trying to place these cattle and put the 8-ball in the corner pocket. We're going to get them ready to work first.
Kind of be like hustling the pool.
That's right.
We'll play with them a little bit, and then we'll set it up and do the 8-ball in the corner pocket. But it is something that, if you really want to try to place cattle or do anything with them, you've got to get them to where you have control on them and can work off the eye and get the animal to respond to what you want to do, and keep them, as Curt was talking about yesterday, keep their mind right there at the body. Don't let them think out in front trying to get away. You've got to keep them back in themselves and responding to whatever you're asking them to do. So that whole aspect of getting them ready to work is something we don't do enough of. We can do it in the gather, the way we gather cattle, the way we bring them into the corrals, the way we sort. Everything else helps do that. And so that's kind of what we're going to do this morning. Just take a little bit of time to work with them and feel them out. You've got to feel out how they are and whether they're ready to go, and whether or not you can actually be successful in trying to take some or one and place them somewhere. Sometimes it's better to take more than one or take a group, so you've got to kind of feel that out as well, and we'll try to do a little bit of that.
Good. So the first thing we'll do is feel how much pressure these cattle can take or not take. And you have to figure out, if there's going to be two of us working, you have to figure out how much pressure they can take with one person and two people together. And so for me, what I try to do is I kind of concentrate on the animal's front feet. And what that does, I heard somebody interviewed Wayne Gretzky, the great hockey player, one time, and asked him why he was so much more advanced than others. And he says, because I am always thinking about being where the puck is going to be rather than where it's already been. And putting that in cattle handling terms, if you're always thinking ahead of your cattle, if you get ahead of your cattle's mind, then you can be where you need to be before they've already left you. And that's real important. So by watching their front feet, it's like my horse here. I can ask my horse to shift over onto his right front foot here, like right there, and now I can ask him to left he should be able to lead with his left front foot. He's pretty right-footed. Now I'll set that. I want to ride my horse the same way I work these cattle. So here, his left foot goes down. Now I'll ask his right foot, step forward. Nope, not your left. You're right. Just the opposite of what I ask. So I'll set him up, but with cattle, you can do the same thing. I'll say, lead with a certain foot, or at least anticipate them. See, when he shifts his weight over, now he should move his left foot forward because he shifted his weight, and he told me he was going to move it before he moved it. So when working in cattle and trying to figure them out, I'll watch their front feet more than anything else because they'll shift their weight and tell you what they're going to do before they do it. And that's how you can get ahead of these cattle. So that's where my mind goes, kind of their head and their front feet. I don't really worry about much else. So
you can really predict, and I think with quite a bit of accuracy, how they're going to move, how they're standing. And so that is very important. And I teach a lot of kids in labs how to get one to turn around, that kind of stuff. And as they're approaching them, you can tell that they're about to have problems. Just with the way the animal's set up, you haven't got their feet right, and they're not going to go the direction you think. So that's really important, Curt, and I think we need to probably spend more time talking about that, because if you're really trying to place them, that front end is so important.
You bet. So when we first start towards these cattle, we don't know how much pressure these cattle can take. So as Ron goes in there, he's taking a pretty flat angle just to kind of see how much it takes to get that heifer up.
Quite a bit.
And they might work way different horseback than they did afoot. You see, now she's going to stretch, twist her tail a little bit, chute her cud. Watch here. What's going to happen right now? She'll straighten her back out. She feels good. That's a nice way to get an animal up. So he didn't just ride in there and kind of overdo it.
If you've got cattle that are bedded down, you do need to try to get all of them up before you start trying to move the group, or you'll run cattle over the top of one another. And I'll just step in here and kind of send them to Curt a little bit. And as soon as they move, when I first approach them, as soon as they move, I'm going to stop, let them know that's the response I want out of them. Now, Curt's in a position, I'll let him move them out of that corner.
Now what I got to do is I got to get him to trust me enough to turn around and look at me with one eye. See the white calf she had? Now this calf wants to see me with two eyes. Now he's following his buddies, and if I'll just get out here and let him see me, then he'll say, okay, I can turn my back on this guy and trust him.
A lot of times, if you've got one of them that really wants to lock on to you, if you'll just take a little bit of time like Curt did and let the others walk off, it'll train them to change their eye and go ahead and take that pressure.
So we're just trying to get these, they're kind of hooked onto you. They want to see you, and they'll kind of hook onto you. So what these cattle really probably need more than having in front, we need to be behind this, sending these cattle somewhere and get them trusses walking off, leaving. But we don't want to stay right in behind them. We'll sweep back and forth. Like right here, I'll see if I can send these calves around, where they make it around that corner. We'll just let her come in behind me here. We'll just let these cattle work their way around that corner, and that'll draw those other ones forward.
As I walk, if I put too much pressure, they're actually going to come more toward me. I probably drew that one out more than I thought.
Maybe I'll go get her while you hang in there with these.
We'll see.
So here, watch her front feet now. I'm going to set myself to get her where she puts her head to her right. Right there, and that picked up her left front foot. Now I'm going to step over behind her and draw her over closer to Ron. If I step in behind here, she'll turn and go right into the bunch. I'm hiding behind her eye, and that'll draw her right into the bunch. If I stepped over here too much, she'd have maybe went over in that corner. So now I'm going to let her, she can't take much pressure, so I'll just back up. We'll take some of the pressure off. Watch her ears. Her right ear. She's still thinking about leaving. Watch her right ear.
She's feeling a lot of pressure from the stands, but now she's figuring out even them walking off may have actually helped bring her up a little bit.
Her right ear finally came forward, and she changed her mind to stay.
Now this is where you got to be careful. You put too much pressure, she's sure in a position to pop right back out of there. But if you get in a hurry in this settling process, you won't get them settled. And oftentimes if one of them runs off, we actually end up creating more issues than we can fix. So rather than having them all run off a while ago, being able to stop them, turn them back, and get these cattle ready to work, they're still not real ready. They're taking a little bit of pressure, but not as much as they have to if we're going to be placing them somewhere. This little black one, he sure likes to hook on, doesn't he?
I'll speed this side up just a little bit, if I can, to try to keep them out of that corner, but I can't get too far forward, just that much. I just got to speed this side up to send that black heifer around, or I'll send this heifer back out again. So we'll get her turned back into the bunch. We'll get her comfortable going in that corner, and we'll see if she can just make it up. She don't want to get in there too tight. Right there. Now I can send these on up. I'll get these two up, and see when these turn around, they're going to push the rest of those cattle up into the corner. Now we'll just let her have some room. So here with her, what you got to do is get way out here. Ron just didn't have time to get out there and get out in front of her mind and get way out there and then push her mind back on her body. What she's doing is when she gets in this tight bunch, her mind is out there and then her body runs out there and catches it. And you got to have a pretty fancy cutting horse to get in front of the mind.
This is one of those heifers. If she gets where she always feels safer over there than she does here, I might take her to that corner and just put a little pressure on her until she wants to come back to her buddies. But you got to be careful about that, or you can put too much pressure on them as well. But by not getting in a fight with her, we've got her where she's willing to step up in here and actually, again, taking more pressure off can stop a lot of that if you can do it quick enough. These little guys don't like going into the corner either.
Now, if I can straighten these three, if I can just get these three to look to their left, instead of looking at me, they should step right up there and send them on through. Now, we'll just let her go. I was late. But I'm going to drop over here with her and not put too much pressure like Ron was saying. I got to pull my horse off. I'll get her to look at me. If she can just draw her and get her to look at me with both eyes. If she can't, I'll get her at this side. She should, right here, she should turn and look at me. And now I'll just let her think about that for a moment. Stop her front feet. Now I'm going to ask her to move her front feet back to the bunch. And I'm going to put my pressure right up there with her on the triangle where you should give it an injection. Just move my pressure from the tail head to the triangle. Just like I move my shot forward, I'm going to move my pressure forward on that heifer. Good, now we'll just let them, now they're all straight. See, now they should all work their way in that corner because they're all looking the same direction. You'll see how they kind of roll in there when they get straight.
And while she still had a little forward motion, I actually went ahead and kept a little more pressure on her than we had been. She gets to thinking about it, she wants to come out. Right now she just can't understand it. She wants to come out, but the draw's back in there. So we're letting her buddies kind of teach her to step up in there at this point in time. She could be a herd quitter if you weren't careful. You could really teach her to leave. But if you go to chasing one like that runs off all the time, you're just going to reinforce that behavior. So you got to be careful about that. And maybe you go to her like Curt did and put a little bit of pressure on her and get her to go back to her buddies.
This is fun. We'll see if we can change her mind. Now she's thinking, should I go or should I stay? She's decided to stay.
Now, if we'd have made any move toward her at that point in time, she'd have come to us. So being able to read that and figure out where she's going to go. But she's just looking for us to make a mistake so she can run back out.
She don't have anywhere to go, so she's now she's making that decision again. If I just move my horse across, again, just by moving back and forth, just enough. We don't want to advance towards her. Just move your horse's head back and forth across. That'll be enough just to get, now I'll switch eyes on her. I'll see if I can get over here on her right eye. Watch her ear again. She might, no, she's got me on her left there. She's come over to her right eye, which caused her to pull up in there. So there's a spot right behind that thing, she can't see you. And she likes to, now, there's a thought, now, animals like her like to see on the left eye. And the reason that is because they're in their flight mode. They're thinking about leaving. The horse is real scared. It's easier to catch on the left side. You've all seen that when you walk up to a horse that's kind of spooky. They'll present themselves on the left side a lot of times and not the right. You try to go up on the right side, they'll whirl and run away. And the reason that is because the way the brain works, the right side, the left eye is hooked onto the flight part of the brain. And so if they're afraid, they naturally want to be in that mode where they can leave. That's where they're at. So that's why they want to pick you up on the left eye. So our job is, as a colt starter or getting these cattle settled, our job is get them as comfortable on the left eye as the right eye and vice versa. So switching eyes is a real important thing. So just like the colt, when I get on a colt that's kind of bronky, sometimes I won't go to the right for quite a while. I'll just ride him to the left. And I'll get him real comfortable with me going to the left. before I try anything else and get the stimulus of my legs touching him and everything while he's going to the left, and he's comfortable with that. A lot of times when you turn over and go back to the right, it's like you went to the house and got you a cup of coffee and come back and got on them, and they'll get scared and grab their behind or buck you off. They won't buck me off. They might buck you off, but they wouldn't buck me off. So this is really, really advanced stuff. And I think Ron and I have talked a lot about, so we can talk about flight zone and balance point and all those things that we've been talking for 20 years. And those are the basics and the most important thing to learn at first. But if you really want to advance your stockmanship to really make a difference with cattle, you've got to advance past those things. And you got to get to the meat of the bones and really get into this deal. And that'll change things for you.
I don't know if y'all watched that heifer when somebody walked down the back fence over here. She locked on to that person. So she's really in tune to anybody on foot. And he drew her eye all the way back around to me. And she took one little step this way, and I just went to moving my horse's head side to side. And that got her off of him and back to looking at the cattle in front of her. She walked back in there. So those little subtle things with that heifer makes all the difference in the world. And she's very responsive to that kind of stuff. And now we'll actually kind of draw those cattle out a little bit. And they're comfortable in there, and they haven't had any pressure, so as we can draw them out, maybe Curt put a little pressure on them and ease them out of there. One, you don't want to really put a whole lot of pressure on them at that point, because you've really worked to try to get them comfortable over there. And we'll use old Sally to ease them out. If they're coming too fast, I'll try to maybe slow them down just a little bit.
And we talked about it yesterday. In Texas, they lead cattle, which is a great thing, but you got to be really good. You don't just get out in front of cattle when you're leading cattle. There's a certain way you got to be drawn. You got to be slowing their feet down. You got to be leading cattle is a big deal. It's not something you just put up there and just ride. Leading cattle takes a lot of thinking, and you got to figure out where those cattle's feet are. If you go too slow, they're gonna, like Ron had to get out there far enough. If you go too slow, she's gonna split and learn how to get around you. You go too fast, and you're not even a part of the deal, and then you're not going to be doing your job. So that right there, what Ron just did, is really, really important. How you present yourself.
I don't want to get them too fast, but there I had to use the fence a little bit to slow them down. But that's not cheating. That's just smart.
Fence is your cheapest cowboy sometimes.
That's right.
I feel kind of good how they're moving now.
It's a very, very nice little step out there. You gonna bring them on around? Now here I'm just gonna swing my horse's rear end around. That way I won't really back off of them that much, but I won't be getting closer to them as I turn. I'm gonna stick them in this corner, Curt. That's one thing about it. If you've got cattle, your incoming cattle or fresh cattle, a lot of times you really need to teach them to get into every area of a receiving pen. I know Dr. Knopfsinger talks a lot about acclimating cattle and getting them comfortable in every area. That's one thing. Those cattle might not have ever gone into that corner if we hadn't put them over there. But we want them to get there and be comfortable. That way they can go back anytime they need to. So if that were where the feed bunk was, we'd really need them comfortable over there. So that's something we talk about in trying to place these cattle within a pen. And they all wind up with some hole they like to kind of get into or some corner. And so we can break that habit of the way we handle them and move them out. Where you want to go with them next?
You're the leader.
But these cattle getting really soft to put somewhere and stop, and that's what we're talking about. Get them where you can control their feet. Get them where they're comfortable going where you need them to.
I'm kind of going back and forth behind them, getting them used to twitching eyes, and getting them used to kind of be in behind them, preparing them for that. Ron's taking the lead out in front, and we need to have both. We say don't get behind cattle, but you got to get back of cattle a lot of times to get them to move. So I'm doing lots of switching, and I'm trying to get these cattle where I can speed up this left side or the right side, which will cause a left-hand turn.
And for him to do that, I've got to get out of the way.
Or if we want him to go straight, I'll get the right side going and I'll straighten out this left side. And Ron speeded that up. Now I got to speed this side up. But if we want him to turn to the right, I can duck around here. Ron can speed that side up. And that should draw these cattle around. See how that heifer there, she drew this way. Ron can just turn those cattle right back. I'll stay right here. As soon as this heifer makes her move, these cattle are going to bump her right there. Now I can step forward now. And that'll just send these cattle right out of that corner. But I had to wait till that heifer made her move around so she'd see me on the right eye. So when I step forward, it's sent her on.
And I don't keep my pressure on that side. I let Curt pick them up, and then he's the one that has the eye at that point in time.
Let's, we want to put them out this gate?
Sure.
Attempt to put them out this gate. I don't want to get I don't want to get too, like I'm too sure of myself here.
And I can actually, sometimes if you've got two people, somebody can kind of stay at the gate. These cattle hadn't seen Curt open that gate. I'm going to turn them back around where they'll come in and kind of see that gate open from this side rather than take them to the corner. And as Curt can ride from the gate, it should draw them forward. We'll see. Same thing here. Once we get them all facing the same direction, they're going to go somewhere. Little heifer in the front's already, your steer's already seen the opening. They just got to think about it now. You got a plan that I don't know about, so what is it?
Oh, I'm just trying to be where you.
I'm just going to, once again, it's kind of like that. Now Curt, pick them up on that side and get them looking again. Once they see it, I want this one looking so she knows she can follow those others if they go. Now I got to be careful not to take too much pressure off this side, but I put too much. This is where we see a lot of people just get way too much pressure on cattle before they're comfortable going in a pen. If you got enough people, you can do it, but you're not teaching the cattle anything. That red heifer's not really that comfortable in there. If old Blackie, she decides that's too much pressure, we've got to let her have a hole to get to. Now while she's over there, I'm going to try to step in and put a little more pressure on this side. These Brangus heifers, they don't care. This old black Mott does. Now she's got a spot to go, she'll just go right there. We've got to be careful not putting too much or she'll back out of it. Now these other cattle are just slowly bumping one another up in there and they're getting comfortable with it.
She's just not ready to make her move into that committee.
No, she doesn't like a tight spot.
She's getting ready. Watch her ear again, her left ear.
She's looking to see if anybody else is moving up there. There she is. Getting a little braver. She's funny. She's one to really watch and see. Now those others are starting to ease on out, so we've just taught them to ease into that gate and not feel a whole lot of pressure. Now that would have driven some people crazy to take that much time, but we're trying to get these cattle where they'll work for us for the rest of the time we own them. So that right there, we got in, we kept just enough pressure, and we were talking about maintaining pressure. At that point in time, we weren't adding any driving pressure, we were just maintaining enough pressure that they felt the need to go and move forward.
The hard thing about that spot right there is you want to ride forward to get the first one to start, but anytime you go with the flow of movement, you slow movement down from the back. What we needed to have happen going in that gate, because we couldn't get to the front, and because we had that one that's kind of snuffy, or kind of would quit us, if either one of us rolled to the front to start our bunch in the front, turn her back, and then every one of those animals would come back with her. So what you got to do is you kind of try to get their minds going forward. We kept our minds on those first animals. We were pressuring the ones from the back, but not so much, but it was just like a chess game. They were just dominoes forward. And then they decided to go in the pen. They thought their way through there, and now they've stayed in there pretty good.
It's interesting. Had we not done this over here, and this has been the first place we tried to put that blaze face heifer, motley face heifer, she would not have taken that pressure very well. So this is kind of fun to see what they'll end up doing.
Now this is too tight. I don't want to go in here and get these cattle out. It'd be too tight, and I done do everything we've done. So at times it doesn't really hurt a person to get off his horse.
Not be able to lead him.
And being I can't get on a horse, it would undo things. But I'm going to leave you alone so you can get him caught. And this is not my bridle, so if he breaks his reins, I see these Texans always tie their horses up their reins anyway, so they're good at fixing the reins. So I'll go ahead and just try to step in here in a way that gets these cattle to leave without undoing everything we've done to put them in here.
I'm cheating like a football player right now. I'm watching the big screen so I can see when they're going to start. So if they come too fast, then I'm in a position that I can go in front of them and slow them down a little bit. Now that should create enough draw. Those others coming out, but they're pretty comfortable staying in there. And me coming in front of the alleyway may have stopped our draw, but I don't want that heifer to just run off either.
They would just send her back in there again.
Might as well.
So just to kind of help her a little bit, get more brave, this would be a good spot.
The little ones were the first ones in, so they're going to draw back really easy. That's going to give her confidence to step in there like it wasn't any big deal. That's kind of fun. But she's getting where we can place her now. We can do things with her that we couldn't have until we'd worked with her a little bit.
I'd like to be able to ride my horse in this chute here, but
Yeah, that de-rigging chute's kind of in the
I don't
way.
think he wants to. So I'll go ahead in. He don't even want to go in here. He might have been hooked before. So this is pretty tight in here. So if I can just get one or two to leave. Can't get my, there, that's it. I need to get him over just a little bit. Ouch. You don't like being in this tight spot with these cattle, so I'll just see if I can just get this white heifer to step forward. I just assumed the one we've been working on didn't. It's not going to work, so I'm going to have to get a foot again. Get him to come out of there, which when I was a kid, when I had a nice hair like these guys up here in the third row down, and I really wanted to impress the girls, I would never get off my horse. I was a cowboy, I stayed horseback, but now that I got a wife already, so I don't need to do that, so I'll wait and get off my horse once in a while. I'll go ahead and bring them all out this time.
And I was going to try to get over there before Curt got that far. I didn't realize she was ready to come out. I wasn't paying attention. I tried to slow that whole process down a little bit. She does not care for somebody on foot. We were right. But over time, you can work that out of her too. She needs to get used to it. But at some point in time, she's going to have to deal with people on foot. But that is something that kind of sets her off a little bit more.
All right, should we put them in there and see if we can get her to walk out?
All right.
Jack, where you at? You with us, Jack? Just step there in those back pins for us once we get these guys in, and you can just kind of send these guys out to us. Here again, we're getting pretty confident now. We think these calves are going to go in there.
As long as you can kind of go pretty fast, but once again, they got a little more pressure this time. Here's where I got to be careful not to stop all of her motion.
That'll be good right there for just a second, Jack.
Yeah.
You can see who we got in the lead. So
Wait just a second.
I'm gonna try to send these across to Ron so he can send those calves right up in there, just like that. So if I send these calves, they ought to step up in there. And now we got some flow going. We can put a little more pressure on. I'll just make sure not get this black heifer over here.
It's funny, our little heifer that's been the issue, she stepped up in there quite a bit earlier. Oop, my bad. You wouldn't pay
That's
for
what you
that.
get for kicking a
I
cat.
know what I just texted you.
That's,
He didn't care for it.
Hey, did you folks hear that PETA is saying that you shouldn't call dogs and cats pets because it's demeaning to them? And he just kicked a calf. I can't believe he would do something like that in the stockmanship and stewardship guy. It's a companion animal, by the way, not a pet, and you should not be kicking calves. All he did is he tapped that calf with his boot on the top of the tail head. So that went down.
For the most part, most people
All right. You see, as we get them working, we can speed up this whole process and flow of what we're doing because they're much more responsive.
Okay, Jack. Go on inside. Go down the alley. And really watch
every
now.
move we make.
Jack, you really watch these cattle. When you step up on that fence, see if it causes them to turn around and move.
That'll be the headlines.
She's already picked you up and she's
Whoa,
coming.
whoa, whoa, that's enough, Jack.
Ron kicked cows.
Good. So now we'll stop her feet. Watch her ears. She's licking her lips. We got to get her to look at us and acknowledge that we stopped her.
Yeah, she's still hung on Jeff. She locks on to a person as quick as any cow I've ever seen.
Right. One of us she'll catch on. I want to make sure she puts her ears forward to me before we quit on her, like that. You got Ron. Good.
She's still thinking about Jeff, but now she kind of picked me up, relaxed one ear.
But you see how little it took if we weren't careful to undo everything we've been trying to do here. And that's real important with these kind of cattle. You gotta see what's happening before it happens and get that pressure changed. Or you'll just send her right back to where she was. And these kind of cattle, they'll get real good. You just can't undo those things.
This heifer here is trying to learn something. She's watching Curt on the big screen up there. Pretty interesting.
All right, should we put it back over here?
Sure. Now, they may want to go back in the alleyway since they've been in there a few times, but we'll just leave it open because our draw will actually bring the cattle around where we need them to be. And keep them from going to that gate the same way we kept them, send them to it. We'll step out here a little bit, not too much, and come back.
Sometimes they don't game plan before.
I don't want to go up their side and lose our motion
Always hard to
or
make.
stop her. I just use my horse's head to come down her side. She's taking a lot more pressure than she did the first time. That's kind of fun.
Ron, I just noticed we have a real good stockman from Binkelman, Nebraska. You're with us. Now, I think this person is really, I gotta back up, change your mind. That was just right. My horse did perfect there. Now watch your mind here. That made a big change right there. So we have a celebrity and a real good stockman from Binkelman, Nebraska. And a lot of you know the name, but I'd like Diane Knopfsinger to stand up, please, because she puts up with all the stuff that Tom Knopfsinger leaves. He runs off and does these stockmanship and stewardship things, and she does the real stockmanship at home. So there's our lady right there. Diane, we're really proud to have you in here. We're okay with you too, Tom.
She's a lot like my wife. I tell everybody we have a house in College Station. I go by and visit when I can. There's a whole lot of truth to that in there, Doc.
Okay, so let's see if I can ease in here and we'll try to get her to go to the back. Just get over there where she doesn't get bothered by us. We'll just let her work her way in there. Good, now see if I can just pass this black calf out to Ron. This big heifer here. I'll see if I can just send this big one out. Good. Now I gotta be watching this most sensitive one. I gotta make sure not do so much that I cause her to get too bothered. If I could just get my horse to take a little step here. And we'll just watch her. Now don't, you gotta go that way. That'll go. Okay. Now if I step up here and I'll bring this black heifer out. If I can, I just gotta step forward just enough. If the calf comes with her, that's fine. I don't want to go too far. Well, Ron's got me blocked here. So we'll step here. Good. Now I'll step forward. We'll see if we can't slow everybody else down here.
My horse left and I didn't ask him to, so I've got everybody in the jam there.
We'll just, that's all right, that'll be good. We'll just hold that heifer up, we'll put these back in.
Put these in.
Let's don't let this heifer get out on us. There, now we'll just turn her mind around, and get her where she thinks, okay, I'll go back in that hole rather than going between these guys. Very good, real good. Get these guys just to turn around and she'll go right up there with her.
You just tell she's.
There's the spot, now that's just right. Okay, now you guys just turn around, walk up in that corner. They gotta have enough room to turn around. Ron had to back up just a little bit, just right. Now we can send them up in that corner. Good. Now I'll go bring our calves back. All right?
All right.
You get one ready to come out.
I know which one I can get out pretty quick.
Yeah, I know. Now here, I'm going to send these guys to the right just a little bit by coming out this way. There we go, just right, Ron. She'll come by these guys. I can step right in behind Ron. He can take her or I'll take her. Go ahead. I'll just step right in behind.
My horse is swirling around a little more.
And now I'm going to stop this heifer here and let Ron do his work. My job is just hold these cattle up. Now Ron could take that heifer over to that gate.
I'm going to try to do something we talk about sometimes, is get one of them over here pretty close. And if I go up her side, I should be able to get her to stop. See, she set her feet down pretty soft.
Huh. Sorry, Ron.
It's all right. It happens. I'm going to try to stop this heifer and let old Baldy go. She won't do it.
In a very.
My bad there.
I'll try to split them up here. And I'll just act like, but I want to keep this heifer. I'll see if I can just, I'm not going to put too much pressure on it. We'll just let these guys go, and then we'll just leave that heifer in the corner.
The thing about this heifer with the white in her face, she'll make you be in the right spot.
You got him?
Yes, sir.
Send these guys back to where they were.
I was trying twice to see the presentation yesterday. The one guy was on the top. Distracted everybody else. And then
You'd like to run off, but don't do it. All right.
Okay, sorry about that. Go back to your business.
All right, we good?
Yep, I'll try.
All right, this heifer, I may do a little bit of flushing. I'm going to try to just get this heifer out of the corner a little bit and get her headed that direction. Then I'm going to stop her and maybe move her a little bit closer to the gate and then try to stop her. Get both front feet kind of squared up if I can. I may have to put her on the other side. We'll see. Now, if I get her too close to the gate, this isn't going to work either. So I'm going to move her down that fence and just try to get her set where I can stop her. But here's where I can come down the fence, stop this heifer by going up her side. I'd like for her to turn away from me. We'll see if she'll do it. May not. My horse will go to her more than I want him to.
I actually think I can come help you if you'd like me to open the gate for you.
But if I can just get her facing that way this time, I'm going to try to stop her right there. Now, if she'll stay there, I'm just going to kind of ease off this way. If she starts to come back, I'll come back and stop her. Now, she got her feet a little softer that time. Now, I'm going to try not to put any pressure on her as I go do this. Now, I got to be careful when you open your gate. Sometimes you actually come away and put too much pressure on them. But now she's actually seen the gate open. And I can come back to her and try to pick her up. Yep, it's a setup, dear, I know. Here's where you got to be able to push on that eye, as Curt talks about, right behind the ear, and that area where you give you a shot on the BQA. Set up. Now I'm going to flush Curt's cattle out if I'm not careful. And I don't want to do that. Here, I'll just try to ease her on up this fence.
That spot right there where teaching to switch eyes is real important. That when you get in that spot that Ron was in, if she wouldn't switch eyes, that would have been a tough. It'd be like trying to work a pink eye calf in there. You can't see the hole. That was really good. I think that was great.
If you were needing to doctor one, that'd be a way to sort them out of a group. You can hold them up, do whatever you need to do. I would like to have been able to just bring her right down that fence and in, but she's wanting to draw back to those other cattle. But that's typical, so you just got to adapt and adjust, do what you need to do. I got a little too close to her over here, probably put a little pressure on her, should have backed off. But we got her where we needed to go, so I'll get better next time.
That's right. And this heifer, she's getting where she can take it more and more and more. She's better at standing there and staying there for us. So good. She's even now she's even going and turning her back on us and going into bunch. So I really, you know, these demos and this, just, you know, you wouldn't really do this at home a lot of times, but you probably should, just to learn. And these young folks in the audience, if these kids can learn how much you can change it, like I kind of look at this like that heifer there, like starting a colt. Like I was just over at Marina and talking to David, and for 20 years I did colt starting demonstrations. Colt that had never been ridden or touched or whatever, and go in 2 hours and then be riding him and do some of this stuff. To make that change is quite a big deal. If we can do it with a colt, why can't we do it with a cow? So it's really fun, it's rewarding, and I think it's profitable.
That heifer will be better next time. And the next thing that'll have to happen to her at some point in time is get her used to somebody being on foot. There's going to be a time in her life when probably somebody's going to be there that's going to put too much pressure. But her flight zone is very different with somebody on the ground than it is horseback. So the thing I'd probably start doing with her is maybe lead my horse a little bit and move them, where it's not such a big transition. But there's things you can do to start easing these horses in. If you're always going to be horseback, it's not going to affect them well, there's always going to be somebody on foot. And when anybody walks by, she picks them up immediately. So she needs to learn that's not a big deal. She's handled the crowd and people going up and down the bleachers a lot better toward the end of this than she even did to start with. So that's all kind of fun and interesting to look at.
I might rope her and choke her a little bit too, and maybe she get a little better.
She'll remember, right?
Yeah, she'll remember it. Try out this tied. I've never roped something with a tied-on rope before. I've kind of wanted to do that. I should probably cinch up before I did that.
Well, if Tim's here, he said you could do it regardless, right?
That's right. Not tied on. That's zipping rope. All right. I think we're about out of time. That to me, this session, we didn't do a lot. But we had there's a lot of stuff happening there that probably was more for you folks to see, that rather than just putting through the chute and running through the chute. If you're really interested in this stuff, there's some stuff that's pretty interesting to me there. So
this is going to be fun because these same set of cattle we're going to use at the last session. And we're talking about creating flow. So if you're always trying to fight one of them to get them to do what you want to, flow is not going to happen very well. And so this will be really interesting to see how they work in the last session. I'll go through another set on the chutes. And this will be fun to come back and see how they flow through this system.
good. Thank you. Good job, Ron. Thanks, Steve.